Picture this: entire fields flattened overnight, rivers polluted, and native wildlife driven to the brink. Not by a storm, not by industry. Sounds unbelievable, right? Yet this is the reality facing countries worldwide, where millions of these beasts are multiplying faster than ever. They're smart, destructive, and nearly impossible to stop. But here's the twist. What if the very thing causing chaos could be turned into as much as $2 billion in profit every year? Today, we're diving into the global battle of hog trapping and processing, where nations are fighting back against one of the toughest invasions in history. This is a battle that, if lost, could cost the planet dearly. From chaos to opportunity, from destruction to dinner, this is the wild boar story you've never seen before. Stick around, because it's about to get real. Welcome to Agriculture Flow. In the United States, farmers are now facing off against more than 9 million wild boars. A biological army so massive that, if they were to occupy their own territory all at once, they would need more land than the entire state of Texas just to contain them. It's no coincidence that wild boars have become a nightmare for farmers. These animals aren't native to the Americas. The first boars were brought to the continent in the 16th century by European explorers like Christopher Columbus. Then in the 19th century, another wave was imported from Europe for sport hunting. But through a mix of human carelessness and the cunning of this non-native species, some escaped. Bred with domestic pigs, and over time evolved into a hybrid force, stronger, more aggressive, and capable of wiping out 3 hectares of corn in under an hour, causing billions in damage. These animals aren't just big and tough, they're quick too. Maybe you don't know this, but a single boar can hit speeds of 40 kilometers an hour. That's about 25 miles per hour. Fast enough to smoke most of us on a morning jog. Now here's where it gets real serious. Wild boars compete directly with native species like deer and wild turkeys, stripping the land of food and raiding the nests of endangered animals such as the gopher tortoise. The danger doesn't stop there. These animals carry highly infectious diseases, from foot and mouth disease to African swine fever, threatening livestock and the livelihoods of farmers. On top of that, if they feel cornered, they've been known to go after pets, or even people. Ironically, it's the traps themselves that are now backfiring, set in the wrong places, sprung at the wrong times, and outsmarted almost every time. The result is staggering. Wild boars aren't just surviving, they're thriving. And it's all because we've overlooked a brutal truth. Wild boars are among the most reproductively explosive invasive species on Earth. Unless more than 70% of their population is eliminated each year, their birth rates don't just remain steady, they skyrocket. Litters once numbering 4 to 6 piglets suddenly swell to 8, even 12. Today, wild boars number over 30 million, spreading with unstoppable force across continents, rewriting entire ecosystems in their wake. Before we explore the surprising science of wild boar farming, we have to face the first challenge: building the perfect trap. To outsmart an animal this intelligent, we must understand its habits, its patterns, and its weaknesses. Miss once, and you won't just lose the battle, you could lose an entire ecosystem. One of the biggest mistakes in controlling wild boars is building corral traps too small, when in fact precision and careful planning are essential. A proper trap should measure 9 to 12 meters in diameter and 1.5 meters high, large enough to capture an entire sounder of 15 to 30 animals. If the trap is undersized, escapes quickly learn to avoid it, making future captures nearly impossible and allowing populations to rebound, causing billions in agricultural losses. The solution? Follow proven designs used by wildlife experts. Large, reinforced circular traps placed along boar trails, carefully baited over several nights, and closed only when the whole group ventures inside. This method, backed by USDA research and university extension programs, shows that with patience and planning, we can outsmart one of the toughest invasive species on the planet. At the same time, modern technology has produced traps that are nearly perfect. Remote-controlled drop gates, combined with cameras and smart sensors, allow farmers to monitor wild hogs from a distance. Only when the entire herd is inside does the steel door slam shut, ensuring that not a single animal escapes. But wild hogs are not easily subdued. They're smart enough to detect weaknesses in a trap's design. That's why the entire frame and fencing must be built from ultra-durable materials, welded or bolted tight. A fully grown hog, standing nearly 3 feet tall and weighing up to 440 pounds, can charge head-on and bend steel if it isn't strong enough. Still, in an effort to cut costs, some farmers turn to thin mesh, barbed wire, wooden posts, or even industrial plastic netting. The result isn't just a failed capture, it's worse.
Cut it on this top of this post, but just pull it off.
Every escape teaches these invaders another survival skill, making them harder to control with each attempt. And so, technology alone is not enough. To draw them in, the art of baiting becomes just as important as the trap itself. Hunters rely on recipes that are as unusual as they are irresistible. Dry corn blended with expired milk or sugary sodas, a splash of beer or yeast, and even fruit jelly.
And now, I'm gonna just leave this much of space in it.
Sealed in a barrel or heavy bag and left to ferment for days, the mixture turns pungent, sending its scent drifting for miles.
Pretty much it. And to be honest with you, I'm gonna leave that bad boy right there.
It doesn't just lure hogs in, it keeps them there, digging and rooting, buying precious time for the trap to spring shut. But the real secret lies in how the bait is laid. Experienced hunters scatter it gradually, leading the herd step by step until, without realizing it, they cross into the heart of the trap. Some bury it nearly a foot deep, making the scent last longer and triggering the hog's natural instinct to dig.
Yes, sir.
The animals believe they have uncovered a hidden feast, never suspecting that their every move is bringing them closer to capture.
Paredes de pelo menos 1,5 metros de altura para evitar que os porcos saltem.
But all those numbers and techniques only truly matter when applied to real life. And the story of one Texas farmer shows that more clearly than any report ever could. On the outskirts of Tyler, Texas, 63-year-old farmer Jack Harrison once stood on the brink of losing everything to wild hogs. They repeatedly stormed into his 300-acre fields of corn and soybeans, tearing up roots during the wet spring and summer months. The damage cost him nearly 25% of his harvest, close to $150,000 each season. Instead of giving in, Jack turned to the very methods experts had recommended: a 6-foot-tall steel trap, welded shut with heavy iron frames, baited with fermented corn for 10 straight days. When the herd finally grew bold enough to step inside, he triggered the gate remotely in the dead of night. The result was remarkable. In just one season, Jack captured 45 hogs, each weighing anywhere from 50 to over 100 pounds, and delivered them to a licensed wild hog buying station in the region. Through persistence, checking his trap every morning and evening, and by strictly following biosecurity protocols, Harrison cut crop losses down to just 5% over 2 straight years. He even recouped the full cost of the trap in only 2 seasons. And that was just the beginning. For once the gate came down, the hog's real journey had only begun, from the wild fields of Texas to the lines of a modern meat processing plant. However, the road to the dining table is not simple, because after successfully trapping, the next step demands both speed and professionalism. Wild boars are fierce and unyielding. Leave them too long, and panic turns to raw aggression. Within minutes, they can thrash, charge, and even shatter steel in their desperate fight to escape. That's why trappers have no more than 1 to 2 hours to act. More importantly, it keeps the animals under control, safe, contained, and ready for the next stage of their journey: transport and processing into meat.
Go on. Get, go up. You're good.
Once handled swiftly in the field, the wild boars are transported directly to state-of-the-art slaughterhouses certified by the USDA. The gold standard for food safety and humane practices in the United States. Inside these facilities, every step unfolds under strict supervision. First, the animals are rendered unconscious humanely, ensuring they feel no pain or fear. After stunning, trained staff must immediately verify whether the animal is unconscious and no longer experiencing pain. They check if the animal blinks, makes vocal sounds, or breathes regularly before proceeding with slaughter. Followed by the most critical stage, rigorous disease inspections conducted by trained experts. According to regulations from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, and the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, each wild boar must undergo individual health inspections to detect dangerous diseases such as brucellosis and pseudorabies before a single cut is made, ensuring food safety throughout the supply chain. Only after passing these checks do they move on to slaughtering, a process that's nothing like commercial pig farming. Because wild boars cannot be processed using mass production methods due to significant variations in weight, ranging from 100 to 400 pounds, dense muscle structure, and inconsistent health conditions between individuals. Once cleared, precision cutting and trimming techniques are used to preserve the best possible quality of the meat. Immediately afterward, it is rapidly chilled to below 40 degrees Celsius, about 4 Celsius, locking in freshness and preventing bacterial growth. Experts emphasize that wild meat requires specialized processing techniques to preserve its rich flavor and firm, lean texture, qualities that make it highly sought after in the market. When you see the level of skill and craftsmanship that goes into preparing each cut, it becomes clear why this meat is held in such high regard. So what about you? Would you choose wild boar over conventional pork? And that's only part of the story. The real reason consumers are increasingly drawn to wild boar lies in the core values it delivers. Wild boar meat isn't just considered a delicacy. It also stands out for its exceptional nutritional value, offering a distinct contrast to conventionally farmed pork. So what makes it superior? Many ranchers value its lean, firm muscle structure and low-fat content, averaging around 3% fat compared to up to 14% in standard pork. On top of that, wild boar meat contains more protein, making it a great option for health-conscious consumers. Experts say wild boars live in natural, free-ranging conditions, eating a diverse organic diet. This results in meat rich in omega-3 fatty acids, iron, and essential vitamins. Consumers often describe the taste as bold, earthy, and distinctive, which helps explain why wild boar meat often sells for 30% to 50% more than farm-raised pork. Beyond fresh cuts like ground meat, steaks, tenderloins, ribs, and loin, wild boar is also transformed into an array of specialty products: sausages, smoked meats, and even canned goods. Among the most prized is wild boar salami, a Russian-style cured sausage that's slowly smoked and fermented, intensifying the natural sweetness of the meat while developing a bold, smoky aroma. Smoked cuts and canned wild boar are also popular, offering long-lasting ways to enjoy this unique protein. The story of wild boars is a powerful example of American farmers' creativity and resilience. Once seen as an ecological disaster, these animals have been transformed into a source of clean, sustainable, and economically valuable meat. From the wild forest to the trap, from processing plants to the dinner table, this is the journey of millions of wild boars each year. Once an ecological nightmare, they've now become a source of clean, sustainable protein. It's a story of how industrial farming not only helps control exploding populations, but also transforms destruction into opportunity. But here's the bigger question. Should wild boars remain protected as untamed wildlife, or continue their path into industrial agriculture? In this survival struggle, will humans ultimately prevail, or will the wild boar keep pushing back? The answer may shape the future of both our food system and the wild itself. Across the globe, farmers are finding solutions every day, and we're here to share them with you. You're watching Agriculture Flow. Hit subscribe and explore more stories.